Hi, welcome to this Marriage and Relationships Masterclass. My name is Kane Ramsey.
And my name's Karen Ramsey.
And together, over the next number of hours, we want to offer you an essential guide to building trust, intimacy, unity, and longevity into your personal, relational, or your long-term relationships by simply sharing with you all the lessons that we've learned from having spent just over 10 years together now, 8 of those years in marriage, where some people might say that's not long enough. Other people might say, wow, you guys are like proper marriage superstars. And we don't claim to be either, but we have learned a few lessons through the school of hard knocks, through overcoming a couple of hurdles in our own relationship. So we want to get completely raw with you. We want to be completely real about exactly what it takes to build a healthy and long-lasting relationship, if that's all right. So we are going to break the course down into a number of different videos covering topics such as unity, the importance of centering a relationship around unity. And the reason why this is so important is because many people look forward to their wedding day. They will spend sometimes thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands on a wedding day, but give little consideration to the marriage, which is everything that comes after the wedding day. So we want to really impress upon you the importance of centering a marriage around unity. We're then going to come on to the natural order of kind of evolution and growth in a relationship, based on the idea that if two people aren't growing together in a relationship, then the relationship ain't growing. And this is where many relationships fail. So we're going to talk and give a little bit of reference to the degree of responsibility that both parties in a marriage or a long-term relationship have really got to take in order for the relationship not just to survive, but ultimately scale and thrive.
We're then going to look a bit about self-awareness, because if we're not aware of ourselves, we have no hope of being aware of our other party in the marriage. So self-awareness is key. We're going to spend a bit of time unpacking that.
We're also going to look at roles and responsibilities. Now, this is going to seem like a really foreign, alien concept to some people, but unless in a long-term relationship roles and responsibilities are defined, then there's not really any basis for two people holding each other to account or being able to fundamentally trust each other. Trust being the foundation of any long-term relationship. So we also then want to look at how it is that we can best overcome and work through conflict, issues, challenges, disagreements, differences of perspective when they inevitably arise, and they will. So we've got to consider a few ideas to be able to navigate through relational conflicts in a really honouring and healthy way.
We're then going to look at how two people can come into complete alignment, because if you're not aligned in priorities, you can end up going round and round in circles for a number of years. So that's essential. Absolutely.
And then we're going to come on to an interesting idea, some that might, again, seem a little bit foreign to some people, and it's the concept of forgiveness, right? What role forgiveness plays in any relationship standing the test of time. Because the one thing that we've learned over these last 10 years is that I mess up all the time. Karen?
As do I.
So we both mess up all the time, which means that unless we get pretty good at, forgiving each other pretty fast, then we're opening the doors for bitterness, resentment to kind of creep in. And when those things kind of take hold of a marriage or any long-term relationship, you're not looking at anything good. So forgiveness is crucial, and we really both want to impress the importance of this, which is why we're probably going to devote a couple of videos to really discussing this. So we also want to consider what role communication plays in a marriage. And we're not here to teach you communication skills or anything like this, but more about the attitudes that we want to be taking to communicating with each other. Karen, what would you say in terms of the role that communication plays in the health of a marriage?
It's absolutely pivotal. You can sometimes think you know something in your mind and you've not communicated it to someone else at all, and it causes big problems.
Absolutely. So we're kind of talking about here two people getting on the same level, singing off the same song sheet, but also understanding how to read each other, which is really important because, as Karen just rightly said, Karen, before I came to know her, had an entire life. all right? And same goes for me, right? Before Karen came to know me, I had like 30 years of life experience. So Karen only knows one aspect of me. She only knows one part of my life. And likewise, I only know one part of Karen's life. So there's a whole load of me that Karen doesn't know, and there's a whole load of Karen that I don't know, which means that unless we learn to communicate well, we ain't gonna never fully understand each other as much as we actually need to if we're to kind of continue to scale the health and the strength of this marriage of ours.
Absolutely. We're now going to look a wee bit about how we can build meaningful connections and conflict-free connections in our marriage. Because I think we've both come to appreciate that, unless you have a meaningful connection in your marriage, there really isn't anything worthwhile committing to in marriage unless you've got a meaningful connection. So it's really important that you fight for that in your marriage, and it's a process getting there. So we're going to talk a wee bit about that.
And the interesting word that Karen just used there was, you got to fight for that. And some people might say, but that just seems like conflict. Surely there shouldn't be any conflict in a marriage. Wake up. There's always conflict in a marriage. There's always going to be conflict in a marriage, which is why most marriages don't last. The key is learning to manage the conflict. All right. The key is learning to manage it, because it'll always be there. And this kind of leads us to the final ideas that we want to share with you, which are more kind of a range of principled ideas for really maintaining unity, intimacy, and trust. So I'm going to be completely honest with you, right? Karen comes from an admin, a very religious background. I come from a more kind of artisan trades, military background. So I'm going to struggle, right, sharing some of the ideas that I'm going to share throughout this course. But we're both committed to the process of being completely real, completely authentic, and also completely honest with you. We're not just here to give you a whole load of advice and make out that we have the perfect marriage or relationship, because we certainly don't, right? But all we're saying is that we have learned some lessons along the way. We're still going strong after 10 years. And we don't just have a strong marriage, we're also business partners, we work together, and we're also best friends. So, if that could be a relatively okay goal for you, then let us get started in the next clip. Just starting to discuss what might need to be in place if we are to consider developing longevity in our marriages. So I'll look forward to seeing you. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you in the next clip.